lot of people feel like imposters because what they think, what they say, and what they do are completely different. But from an operational perspective, because that's how I like to define a lot of words, which is what do I have to do to be that, right? What do I have to do to be authentic? And you can describe someone as authentic by saying, how would you behave if there was no possibility of punishment? And so if you could not be punished at all, that behavior is who you are authentically. And so, in my opinion, our degrees of freedom are predicated on how much, to what extent we act as though we could not be punished. And so if what we want to do and what we do have no possibility of punishment, that is what we are when we are our true selves. I think the hardest jump is actually doing and saying what you think. When someone's like, hey, what do you think about this? And you're like, I wasn't paying attention at all. It's like, oh, wow, okay. And so then you basically become, because I think if personal truth of not lying to, if you start by not lying to yourself and then you start saying those things, then you start not lying to other people. And I think if you can decrease the friction between what you really think and what you say, it starts to create some virtuous cycle outside of you that starts to orient your behavior so that you actually start doing what you really think. And I have integrity, but in the truest sense as one of my personal kind of goals. But it's jarring to people when you're just honest and like really honest. Like, hey, do you want to go to this, to Sarah's birthday party? No. And they're like, what do you mean? You busy? They're like, no, I'm not busy, but I don't want to go. People have a hard time just saying no to things. And I would encourage you, if you're listening to this, like, try saying no to, try actually telling the truth when you don't want to do something. Because we have so many social niceties that we say, oh, I'm really busy, or it's a really bad time right now, or whatever. It's, I had somebody the other day, I was with a friend and I didn't notice that I did this. So sometimes it's nice to have somebody from the outside. And so somebody came up to me, we were looking at a real estate property and someone knew I was going to be there. And so that guy showed up unannounced or whatever. And he was like, hey man, can we do a podcast? And I was like, I'm just in town, going to hang out with Layla for the next few days. Like, not really trying to do that. And he asked again, and he was like, hey, maybe like 20 minutes. Let's we can just rock one out. And I was like, well, let me show you my calendar. And I pulled up my calendar and it was all empty. And I said, see, there's nothing on there. And I was like, and I just want to keep it that way. And I didn't think anything of it, but apparently he left. And then my friend just starts crying, laughing, just thinking how hilarious. He's like, I can't believe you said that. That was so boss, blah, blah. And I was like, what is he talking about? He's like, you just showed him your calendar that you had nothing and you were still like, you're still not going to get any of my time. And I didn't perceive any of this extra narrative that he added to it. But I think just being able to say no to stuff when people ask you for it, because people ask you for stuff all the time. It's these little nibs, these little tiny things. Hey, can you do this? Or, hey, can we show up to this thing? Or, hey, you're supposed to, or, hey, your aunt did that one thing for you, so therefore you owe her. And saying like, I don't subject myself to those rules. And I had a New Year's resolution, which I do believe in making resolutions. Like, why not? If you stick with them. And so one of my more recent ones was, there are no such thing as social obligations, only consequences. So you have no social obligations, you have social consequences, but you don't have social obligations. And so you have to go. I don't have to go. If I don't go, what will happen as a result? It decreases the likelihood they will invite me again, which is great because then I won't have to say no again. So this actually saves me time in the future. And so a lot of people don't play out the what happens if? It's like, oh, more of the thing that I would prefer, which is not getting invited to these stupid weddings or not getting invited to these, Christs or whatever they're called, whatever the thing is. You probably know what the word I'm trying to say.
I do what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, kids getting circumcised or I think maybe
you go and watch it? Like a viewing gallery?
That's a common thing. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Circumcisions.
I think it's a bris. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
All right.
Point being, if you say no and are honest about why you said no, people will be jarred, but then you get this muscle when we're talking about that muscle of being authentic, which is just saying what you really think. And I think that when you do that, you unlock a certain level of confidence in yourself where you're like, oh, I didn't die. Oh, actually what I would prefer to have happened as a result of that. Oh, you know what? It's Friday night and I am going to get a good night's sleep because I do have a clear day tomorrow and I'm going to work my face off and I didn't have to go to Sarah's thing. And to me, that's like over time, I think I just do more and more and more of that, and it feels better and better and better.